welcome back. We have 25 more sales from today to talk about. So this is September 5th, and it is Friday. Starting off with another theme, we have the PSA 9s going for more than the 10s used to go for. So PSA 9 Tyranitar, number one hit for a lot of people from Battle Styles. Sleepy Tyranitar, nicknamed, went for 260 bucks in a 9. Up next, one of my favorite cards from Destined Rivals. I think this is a card that's going to do very well over time. Once again, another card that in previous sets, a lot of Sun and Moon sets, a lot of Sword and Shield sets, this would have been the number one pull. So this is not even top five pull for Destined Rivals, making Destined Rivals a very, very deep set. Up next, you open a Prismatic ETB that might be a little bit overpriced, at around $110. You do have some cushion with this EV on the cushion, looking at $125 and a 10 for those. Pretty high pot, but Van Gogh has kind of changed everything with 40,000 PSA 10s and still going for around $1,200. We have up next, very cool, very interesting, just a regular holo from Celebration. This is actually a link card. There's a little arc over here, a little bridge or something like that, and the Lugia card um, completes the art on this. So we got $100 in a PSA 10, only 132 PSA 10s, only 847 total ever sent, but pretty hard to get the 10s compared to what is already sent. Up next, this card is starting to fly away, so I wanted to feature it here. We're featuring a couple cards in this video. This being the first that I think might be flying out of range soon. This is still relatively affordable, $130. It was about $75 maybe just 2 months ago. So starting to climb up. I think this will still look like a bargain when we look back on it. Stunning card, amazing rare, Rayquaza in a 10 at $130. Up next, one of the best alt art Umbreons around. In a 10, it's pretty low pop, 5,500, 10,000 cents, so about 50% gem mint rate. In auctions, they usually go for a little bit less than the buy it nows, right? And this one sold for $187. Up next, a beautiful card. Stunning Mew card, and 5,000 once again, PSA pop. About a 33% gem mint rate from Crown Zenith. I think this is a good pickup. I honestly might be picking one of these up today. Just looking at this and reviewing the data with you guys. PSA 10 went for $180. Up next, there's a big upside to Japanese 151 booster packs versus the English ones, and that is the Master Ball. Master Ball per box, right? So if you're lucky, you'll get the Pikachu, you'll get the Gengar. Those are the two biggest Master Balls. Very easy grade. 10,000 out of 12,000 got 10s. So it's all about the luck of pulling it. Up next, we have the biggest pull in the new Black Bolt White Flare sets, full red Victini, and very low pop because it's really new to, still close to release. 246 tens. It's going for around 1650 right now. I think it was going for 2,800 on the first couple sales, so it zipped a little bit. Up next, we have Meme Culture entering Pokemon Ends PP up. All you guys have heard of this card. Some people have heard of it enough that they thought it was a good idea to grade it. It seems like it's a pretty good idea to grade it. $115 and a 10, 43 10s out there. Wouldn't be surprised if it's the only one listed and sold, but still very interesting, very cool. This card, PSA 9 pop is really low. PSA overall pop is really low, 5,814. We've had this pulled a few times on the channel. It's from the Team Up Blister Packs, $190 in a 9 today. Up next, a card that has been through such a roller coaster since the first day of release. This used to be $1,000 raw card. This used to be a multi-$1,000 PSA 10 card, and then slowly went down and down and down and got all the way to $40, guys, right around 45 in a PSA 10. This last sold now for 130. Best offer accepted. And I'm starting to have some FOMO not having the Darkness Ablaze Charizard in my collection anymore right now. it was a big part of Pokemon history in 2020 for a lot of us. This was an interesting time period and the start of a little bit of a Poke boom and an interesting time period in Pokemon. So $130. I might have to pull the trigger now that it's flying away. We got the next card up, another stunning card, and this follows the same. All the things I said about the gold one, pretty much the same about this one. This would have been the number one set for a lot, number one card for a lot of sets in Sword and Shield, in Sun and Moon, and in XY. We have it as not even a secondary pull, not even a tertiary pull. Pretty much the a top 20 pull for Destined Rival. Still extremely stunning, very nice card. $130 in the 10. Up next, the number one pull on paper for actually not anymore. This has been flipped, right? The Mewtwo has finally passed the Giratina as the number one card in Crown Zenith. The number one card in sets changes over time, right? The Lost Origin Giratina was not the number one pull in Lost Origin when it first came out for the first little while, and then over time took over the top spot. So the Giratina has now moved to the second top spot. Up next, a card that's been underrated for so long. There's a couple ways to get a Gold Star Umbreon to your collection. The most affordable way is through celebrations, and in the 10, it's going for $375. Decently tough grade, right? 50%, just a little bit over 50% for gem mint rate. Up next, this card is a great example of if you can't get the English one, if you can't get the Japanese one, if the Japanese one's more expensive, then looking at other languages, if you just want the art, might be a good idea. I picked this up for $150, and beautiful card. I love it in my collection. It's going for $650 now because the English one pumps so much. Up next, we got very interesting. This is going to be one of the highest graded cards in Pokemon history soon. We have 46,000 PSA 10s for Terror Festival Umbreon. Stunning, beautiful. That is extremely high pop, though. However, 40,000 PSA 10s of Van Gogh Pikachu is still going for $1,200. So will this still climb and be desirable? Is there more than 46,000 people that want this card in a 10? I would say so. Up next, we have a card that super pumped this week, super pumped this month. We have the special illustration rare Paldean Face Charizard. Such a nice Charizard. I really do love this card. $860 in the 10 today. This was half that a few months ago, right? The Japanese version has also gone up quite a bit, looking at around $380 in the 10. If you just want the art, that might be a good option. And I think that gap probably closes a lot closer over time between the Japanese cost and then the English cost. Up next, we have a card that I like to call on the channel Zardzilla. Godzilla meets Charizard. We have had it pulled on the channel plenty of times. It was not this expensive. Today we could do one of these pulled for every three that we used to be able to put into events. It actually used to be under $100. So if you look at it even further, this is much higher than we used to be able to get it for. Pretty low pop, all things considered. 9,000 PSA 10s out of 33,000. Up next, we have a card that might be one of the most underrated on this list. Such a low pop, only 1,500 PSA 10s. Such a beautiful card. I really love Blastoise VMAX. I love these little turrets. Love the design. I think it's very special. Up next, 151 cards are starting to fly. This used to be 250 just a month ago. So just in the last 30 days, it's gone up quite a bit. I don't think this is where it settles. I think this goes up a lot more from here. I think this card is stunning, iconic, and 151 cards are starting to, in about 3 days, they turn 2 years old. So it's, I think it's time, guys. 151 might be leaving the station. Up next, we have reached the record. I think it was 3.4K for this card, but now we're back to 3.3K. Went all the way down to around 2.2K after its initial pump up to 3.4 and slowly slingshot it right back up. 3.4K. Up next, a card that we've talked about quite a bit on the channel. If you want this card in your collection, I think it's still relatively affordable. It has more than doubled recently. It used to be between 150 to 180 just about 30 days ago. However, this card is almost 4 years old. It is the best card in Pokemon Go. It's an Altar Mewtwo. Stunning artwork. I think all things considered, this is pretty reasonable pretty reasonable. And when we look back on it, I think this card is going to be very, very, very expensive over time, and this will look like a bargain. Up next, Celebrations continues. Two quote unquote throwaway pulls when we were opening a whole lot of Celebrations. If you bought 5 packs, for example, and pulled just these two, um, looked like it didn't hit very well, but today they're getting a little bit more love. They're actually low pop. They are beautiful Pikachus, and this is a sequential set. So someone got a sequential set, a little bit of a premium on sequentials, and very cool to see that. Up next, we have Mega Charizard from Evolutions. Another good example of a card that was quote unquote. No, we were always happy pulling Charizards, but this wasn't one of the big Charizards of Evolutions. And now, if we look at it, we've had Evolution boxes on the channel where we pulled 5 Charizards in one box. So 36 packs, 5 Charizards. This one, the Holo, the Full Art, the Full Art Mega, the Reverse Holo, and then the regular EX, not the Mega, right? We've had boxes like that on the channel. So this was not the biggest pull of Evolutions, but is starting to get a lot of love. $275 in its hand. One last card that we'll look at. Another card that is extremely low pop. Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery cards are tough. They're tough to grade. If you want to find this card right now in its hand, I think there's a single listing now after this one was purchased today, and I think it's at $299. Who knows where it goes from there, because very few are available, and it's a tough grade from Brilliant Stars. Guys, that is everything. Thank you so much if you watched the whole video. I appreciate you guys. If you would like, you can join the Discord through KobeCollects.com community tab. And I will see you guys on the next video.